So in regards to emotional intelligence, I think it's actually also really important to discern the difference between emotions and feelings. So mostly when we're talking about expressing ourselves, we're talking about how we truly feel without the niceness around it, okay? So it becomes a more authentic, true statement of what it is that we want to express. So if we see children, they're very, very pure in the way they express their feelings.
Yes, that's
They
true.
express it and then it's done, okay? Now, emotions is actually a feeling plus a thought or a belief. So therefore, what's happening is that the feeling is being surrounded or suppressed by belief systems or your conditioning. So you're not able to express your anger because maybe you were told that it was hurtful to say things in an angry tone. It's not nice to be angry, whatever it is, okay? And so if you're brought up around that sort of environment, you're forever trying to candy coat your expression. So that's what we call emotional. Now what happens is that there is a story that is actually engaging and putting the gravity on that feeling. So your truth can never really be heard.
Right.
So when I'm working with people, I say to them, I don't want to hear about the story. I just want to understand what happened. And
Yes.
then I go straight to the feeling. And
Right.
then what we're doing is we're just giving the feeling the freedom to be acknowledged, to
Yes.
be okay in this space, and then giving it a new perspective. And when I talk about the new perspective, is to give that feeling a new meaning. For
Right.
example, boys don't cry. That's a really common one. And then we're going to give the perspective, for example, if a male is having trouble reaching his grief and his tears, we're just going to say it's now safe for you to cry. You know, when you're crying, you're just watering your tree. So we're going, you know, what you're doing is you're giving yourself a new perspective of how to allow yourself to express in a kind, in a gentle and nurturing way,
Yes.
in a comforting way to
Yes.
yourself.
Yes.
So, you know, for me, it is all about letting go of the stories. And I know for a lot of people, they engage and invest a lot into their stories.
Yeah.
But that is what keeps cycling around in the
Yes.
pattern.
Yes. That's right. Yeah. Because that's what they create. So the story becomes their identity, because
Yes.
this is what happened to me, and I'm part of that story. So therefore, it's what they sort of, yeah. It just becomes the drama.
It's actually what they're constant. You know, when you're in a story with yourself, that's actually the energy you are projecting to have manifest.
Right.
This
Yes.
is why it's really important to actually do the inner work, what we call the inner work, and to make sure that your patterns are being undone.
Yes.
Because if you're not, even though in your mind you've set these goals to achieve great things, you understand everything intellectually, but the truth is you have no power behind it. So if we understand that our energy is power, that is why it's called empowerment. And when we reclaim our power, when it's translated back, it's actually feelings. And just this week I was looking at the word communication. What does communication actually mean? And communication is really about feeling understood,
Yes.
to be able to express ourselves at a level where we will feel understood and acknowledged.
Yes.
That's the true sense of communication. So if you're one of these people who is not feeling any of those things, then we must ask ourselves to go back to the state of our inner child state. Where did we feel misunderstood and unacknowledged? And the only person who can actually acknowledge and understand ourselves is ourselves.
Yes.
So once we get that little bridge happening, this and this happening, then our projection to the world is that I am acknowledged and I am understood. So in our communication, that is exactly what we will be receiving.
Yeah. 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 So it becomes very
It's the mirror.
it becomes very reciprocal,
Yes.
and then it begins to connect at a completely different level when you're communicating in the context of that, that space that you're
Yes.
talking about. Yeah, yeah.
And what you'll find is that as you communicate from that place of authenticity,
Mm.
people will not only hear your words, but they will really feel your words.
Yes.
And so for me, I'm aware that I speak very directly. Some people don't like what I hear, what I say, but I know that in the end, I've activated them.
So explain activated them, because some people might not understand what that means.
So when you're speaking, when you're actually speaking truth, even though you may not wish to hear it, there is something inside of you that talks to your cells, and your soul will hear it. And so therefore, there's a part of you that actually becomes activated, and it's what we call resonance.
Right.
Many a times I've had people feed back to me, I didn't understand what you said, but I really liked what you said. So
Right.
it's a feeling. It's a feeling they get. It's a feeling they get when they're in your presence. And sometimes you don't even have to speak because they can feel you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and that's really what these sayings of like to be the lighthouse, what that really means is that you go out into the world knowing who you are, being the love and the light that you are, and you are just a reflection back to them.
And so that what that means is, so what that does is it takes us back to your very very sort of an early point around, we connect by feeling.
Mm,
We connect by feelings. We feel people.
exactly.
Yeah. And so if
And
we,
you hear this, the funny thing is that you hear this all the time. Oh, yeah, I could really feel that. Oh, yeah, I could really sense that. But nobody's really acknowledging it. It's like they're afraid to acknowledge this truth because it's not a common language. And this is really bringing us to the point of this interview right now, is that for me, I want to make this into a common language where it's normal. Well, when we talk about things like this is normal because we understand it, we feel it, we sense it.
yes,
So why are we hiding it?
yes,
Why are we pretending it's not there?
yes, yeah, because that's who we are. We're human. We're human. We're human beings with feelings and emotions, and a soul that wants to express itself.
Yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. We're the sensory vibrational being.
mm, yeah,
And our communication, and so if we take it down a bit more, is that our communication is matched by the frequency that we're on.
yes, that's right. Yeah, yeah, and that frequency will um, will project externally and attract the people to you in your life based on your
Mm.
frequency and how expressive or suppressed you are based on how you allow yourself to have your emotions, give yourself permission to express and feel and
Yeah,
speak the truth of and all your and be authentic, as you quite rightly said, and
yeah, yeah.
be authentic in life. So it actually plays a massive part in everything and everyone that you attract and create in your life.
So most people, if you listen to them, they'll go, I think, I think, I think. When you're actually listening to a conversation, they're going, I think, I think, I think. And that will tell you exactly where they are. They're
Sure.
up here,
Yes,
okay?
yes,
And those who come from the space of I feel and I sense, they're coming from the space of the awe, okay? Now, what happens is that a lot of people that I work with will say, oh, but my mind just takes over. I just can't seem to control my mind. I think this, I think that, they're in their mind all the time. So I say to them, and this is particularly true of people who suffer mainly from anxiety. So I say to them, the first thing you've got to do is actually own that you're allowing your mind to drive you. And until you choose to actually take ownership of that
Mm.
and to say to the mind, shut up already, I'm in charge. Your mind is just going to keep controlling you. But the other way also is that when people are in that moment of high anxiety, I say, take a few breaths and then just drop into the body. So what I say, you know, like for example, someone's having this mind chatter going on, I'll just say, okay, so take a deep breath and feel yourself drop. Take another breath and then feel yourself drop. And then take another breath and feel yourself drop. And then you say to yourself, how do I really feel?
Mm. Right.
Drop. How do I really feel? Drop. How do I really feel? Drop. And I tell you what you feel in here is very different to up there.
Yeah, 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 very good. That's a really cool technique, actually, and it sounds very simple to do.
Yeah.
To
But
do.
it's having the awareness to stop yourself in that moment of high anxiety and just go, okay, take a few breaths and then say to yourself, how do I really feel? Drop, drop, drop.
Yeah. So if you think of that, so if you take the grounding exercise on a daily basis, twice, 3 times a day, when however you want to, often you want to do it, and then you use that activity, the technique you've just talked about, you know,
Yeah.
breathe in, drop, how do I feel? Breathe in, drop, how do I feel? Oh wow, you'll be really definitely into your emotions and feelings, and then starting to get that inner sense of your own self at a much deeper level, and you know, your awareness from an emotional point of view will just increase automatically.
Yeah. You know, and to be honest, the mind is very limited. The mind is limited. That's the truth. And so the expansion that we're seeking actually comes from the heart and the solar plexus area that is connected to the pineal gland, actually. But when we're in the mind, we're only coming from the space, and there's like you're not grounded. There's no foundation to bring it into the whole body to activate you. Okay, and so when we're coming from the space of our intuition, which is the solar plexus
Yes,
area, and our heart, this is the place of compassion. This is the place of true unconditional love,
yes,
empathy. Okay, so when we use these values with the mind, everything comes into balance. But
yes.
when we're coming from this space only, we're coming from a limited understanding of how to do things because the mind only records what we've already done.
That's beautifully put. That is really beautifully put.
Yeah. And so if you're seeking a solution, it's not going to come from your mind. It's got to come from that universal being, which is inside of you.
Yeah, the intuitive self, the emotional self, the compassionate self, you know,
Mm.
and the soul, that soul sort of level, or the solar plexus, which is, you know, in the chakra system.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah, balanced with that mental self. Hmm. Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautifully put.
Yeah, and you know, and maybe just to finish this off really is to understand the reason why we're wanting to reconnect with our energy. The true purpose of actually connecting with our energy is to allow ourselves to be the expression of our soul in a more divine consciousness, in a universal consciousness. Because everything we are doing, everything that we are thinking is happening for a reason. And the reason is for the experience, and the experience is for our growth.
Yes,
That is what is meant by consciousness.
yes,
And when we work with our energy, all it does is bring us back to our knowing.
yes, yes.
It's to bring us back to who we are already and what we know already.
Yeah,
I'm all about there's nothing to learn, but there's everything to remember. And this really is the time for it. This century is the time for it.
yeah, that's lovely. That's really great. So say that again. There is nothing new to learn,
But there's everything to
but
remember.
everything to remember.
Yeah.
And
We're the many masters that have already walked the earth already.
yes,
You know, we look at it from the reincarnation state.
yeah,
And, you know, and I feel that we're actually moving into um, a whole different time-space reality where we're actually reconnecting to our multidimensional being. And, you know, and just to put it mildly, it is actually the superheroes that are inside of us.
yes,
Ready
yes.
to burst through, you know.
That's right. That's really
So we're not contained by 3D. We're not contained by this material, physical life, but there is more to that because we're eternal. Our
yes,
spirit is eternal.
yes. So it's this, you know, that superhero gift that everybody has. Yeah,
Yeah.
journalized. Yeah, it's
And
really
it's really a time of anchoring it here on earth.
yeah,
So, you know, this idea of ascension, you know, people going off to heaven or to this other space, you know, I think they totally got that wrong. It really is about us expanding and helping the earth ascend into the higher dimensions to be part of this reality as well.
yes,
So in a way, we're moving from one paradigm and we're creating a whole new paradigm. This is what we're calling the new earth.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very true.
You know, and what I do want to say to people is that whatever you focus on, you know, if you're going to focus on all the fears, the conspiracy theories, whatever it is that you're focusing on, you are lending energy to that. If you really want to create a new earth, you have to pull your energy to you in order to be the creator. Otherwise, you're just manifesting. Manifesting is different to creating.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And to be a creator, you need to be fully embodied.
Yes.
That is the ascension process, to be fully embodied.
Right.
And that was the message of Jesus.
Very cool. Very, very
Yeah,
cool. That's great.
yeah,
And I think that sort of lends to, you know, bring us to a place where I think this just sort of sets the scene beautifully for maybe another session that we can do, you know, soon, where we can, you know, really talk a little bit more about that consciousness, that, you know, that ascension, and what does that actually mean, and, you know, talk a bit more about that, which would be awesome.
yeah. And I probably just want to finish off by addressing this time period at the moment, the coronavirus, which I feel is actually really, really timely for humanity, because we had to pause. We actually had to press pause, in order for people to take stock and to understand how their life has been run,
Yes.
not necessarily by their own means, because I think this is really a time of people going inwards to understand, is this how I really want to live my life? Is this what I actually signed up for?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then to actually start making choices
Yes.
about what they're actually signing up for, to
That's
take that responsibility. And, you know, for a lot of people, I understand it's really hard to actually envision how would life look like. But, you know, it comes back to, how do you wish your life to feel? And if you can understand that little part, then you're on your way.
great.
You're on your way to magic.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, I think we will wrap up now. So thank you so much, Alyse. That's been fantastic. There's some great stuff in there. And you know, again, if they want the grounding exercise, they can go to where you are. There's my cat.
Hi, Louie.
There's Louie. And
Perfect timing.
yeah, and then you can find Alyse on her website at www.aliceyoung.com. Yep.
Young Alyse, yeah.
Yep.
It's youngalyse.com.
Oh, Young Alyse, sorry, Young Alyse, it's the other round. Yep, .com. Get the cat out of the way. All right, so we'll catch up with you next time.
Okay. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.